Hey everybody, welcome to Goots' Wrestling Pod. I am your host, Ray Goots, and with me as always is Andrew Lee Bro. And we got a lot to talk about in the year 1996, but before we get to Halloween Havoc 96, 'cause I do a lot to say about this show. Um, while we were getting ready to record, a bunch of people got fired. Andrew Lee, do you want to go through the list real quick? And then I have some stuff to say about them. They got fired
Yeah.
from WWE,
Okay.
obviously not.
Yes. Yeah. We'll start with the WWE releases. You want to start with the what I think will probably be the biggest name, uh, Braun Strowman. Braun Strowman. Anything you want to say about Braun Strowman, or just somebody go through the whole list
I
first?
don't mean to be I don't mean to be harsh, but I'm going to be harsh. No one except for one person surprised me. None of these people were doing anything. None of these people were gonna they were never gonna give Dakota Kai. Like, do you think Dakota Kai is gonna? I'm not trying to be a dick, but
Yeah.
what honestly were these people gonna do at this point in this fucking
So
company?
the people that Ray are referring to that has been released as of May 2nd, 2025. Braun Strowman, Dakota Kai, Shayna Baszler, Kaden
Mhm.
Carter, Katana Chance, I believe Eddie Thorpe.
Eddie Thorpe.
Yeah, he was released as
He's
well.
like kind of a surprise for me because I heard he was improving, but I don't watch NXT, so I can't tell you. But the biggest
Mhm.
surprise for me is coming up. Give me the final names.
Cora Jade.
That to me is a massive surprise because she's very pretty. She's gotten better. She's seen, Punk loves her. And I kind of thought that they really believed in her. So that to me was a big surprise.
I think maybe she might be injury prone. I think that might be the thing.
Well, you know what? I kind of saw the writing on the wall. I remember she was on TNA and she was teaming with Tessa Blanchard, and she was like suddenly like she fucking hated it. Like if you saw screen cap, she looked miserable. And I'm like, why are they putting her on TNA with Tessa Blanchard? And I kind of there's probably something that we don't know that they don't like about her, but I kind of think she's got a great look. I don't know. She's the only person, honestly. If I was Tony, I would bring her in. Everyone else, I don't see
One more
anything
name
in.
for you. I got one more
What
name for you. I got one more name for you.
is that?
Gigi Dolan.
That's another one I thought was going to be a bigger deal than she wound up being.
hmm
But
The other person they fired was Jakara Jackson, but I never saw anything in Jakara Jackson. But Gigi Dolan, I hope she goes back to being
Priscilla
what
Kelly.
Priscilla Kelly, and she does the goes back to doing the tampon spot. I really, really enjoyed the bloody tampon spot.
You know, here's the thing. I when they signed Gigi Dolan and dude, I can't believe JC Jane is the only one still there from that group, Toxic Attraction. When they signed, I really thought she was going to be a huge star. It's really become apparent, dude, that they don't see anything in her. Like it's like they're not like I don't like people like Ryan Alvarez. Like they made all this money wrestling. There's no defending this, dude. Companies are going to fire people. Corporations are going to fire people. You can't keep everybody on the roster for all time. I don't know why people always get upset when WWE fires people. I don't like the fact that Corey G got fired. But if you honestly thought that they were going to go through 2025 not firing anyone, you're kind of fucking stupid. You're kind of a
Yeah,
fucking
they have to do this because wrestling is, even though it's not a sport, it's very sports like. So you know how like in the NFL they say right now if you're an NFL player, you're at an average NFL player is lifespan in the NFL is like 3 years because
Mhm,
there's all these people coming who want to get in and they're like, show us something, show us what you've got for the next 2, 3 years. If
mhm.
nothing's clicking, we got to move on to the next person, right? Like that's how they're doing it. They're not really. And okay, Eddie Thorpe's a good example. Eddie Thorpe's a great example. Eddie Thorpe, I was a big fan of his when he was coming up in New Japan as Carl Fredrickson. Carl Fredericks, right?
Mhm.
He was in the LA dojo. He signed with WWE in 2023. Okay,
Mhm.
so I believe January 2023. So it's a little over 2 years. Since those 2 years, he hasn't really clicked with the fans. How
Mhm.
much more time do we need to give him? Like it's been
Yeah.
2 years, right? And it just hasn't been clicking. So they gotta make room for the next up and coming people, right? And
That's
so
the thing. Yeah.
I
You know,
think the one thing I would say is if I was WWE, I would give everyone at least 3. I think 2 might be a little too short, maybe sometimes. What if you're injured or whatever? What if they have these big plans they can't push it?
Team
Maybe give
three.
everybody at least 3 years. Yeah, and if they can't connect with the fans in 3 years, you got to cut them loose. That's what I would say. What
Maybe
about you?
there's something. But my thing is with Eddie Thorpe, maybe something was going on with him that we don't know about. They're like, fuck this guy, you know?
Yeah, that's true.
They're
That's
not,
possible.
they're not gonna put in a statement Eddie Thorpe was a dick. So that's why we fired him.
Yeah.
Um, yeah, it's just, the people like wrestling fans, especially, and Wrestling Report is ridiculous. So today, people want SmackDown to go back down to 2 hours, which I agree with. Okay, they also complain that there's this Evolve show and that it's a waste of time. All right, so you want WWE to employ 97,000 wrestlers, sign everyone Tony Khan fires, right? But not fire him. But you also want less television shows. Where are they supposed to go? If SmackDown is only 2 hours and they get rid of Evolve and NXT is only an hour, where are these wrestlers supposed to go? Up my ass? You know what I mean? Like, what do you do with them? You know?
No, they want them to sit in catering like they do in AEW. They're
And
as long as they're getting paid, that's all I care about.
Nick Khan said like we don't sit people, we don't bench people, right? And Dakota Kai said, "I'm sitting home, not injured." So all the wrestling reporters jumped on it. Oh, you benched Dakota Kai. Oh, see, you made fun of Tony Khan for benching people. You did it, and then they fired her 2 days later. It's like, oh, we told you don't bench anyone. We're just getting around to firing.
Yeah.
Like, be
It's
careful. The wrestling media, it's like you don't deal in reality. No company is going to be like, "Oh, we made." I don't care if they make 50 million. No corporation. We're not now. Take Vince out of it because you can't even say Vince. All right. And to be honest with you, since Vince has left, they fired way less people. Let's be fucking real about it. All right. No
Mhm.
corporation. I don't care if WrestleMania weekend they grossed $1 billion. If they don't see anything in Priscilla Kelly or Dakota Kai, they're not going to keep them on the payroll. They're just not going to do it. That's not how you run a successful business. That's just not how business people are. That's how Tony Khan is because he doesn't deal in reality. He lives in his dad's fantasy land. But that's not how real.
Because Tony Khan, he has a luxury a lot of companies don't have.
Mhm.
He has this like evergreen finances, so he could just do whatever the fuck he wants. So he doesn't have to live in reality,
No,
right? Like,
no, he
so
doesn't.
I
He doesn't.
get that. I totally get that. But yeah, everybody else, you gotta live in reality. But a lot of
People don't want Nick Khan
there's
has
two
to.
types of wrestling fans. There's regular wrestling fans, and then there are what should we call them? Mute
Internet idiots. Internet
no, that's
idiots.
too long. We'll call them the marks. There's the
They're
marks.
marks. They're marks.
Modern day marks. And modern day marks are fucking stupid. They're really dumb. They don't live in reality. They they're just like the grossest fans in the world. And they make me sometimes like disgusted that I'm kind of
They do this. WWE is bad thing, dude. I remember there was an outrage when they fired the Iconics. An outrage on Twitter. You would have thought that they murdered a puppy. The Iconics showed up at Bound for Glory that year. I think it was 2021. I ordered the show. We covered it on the old
Yeah.
podcast. We reviewed it. I went to Twitter and there were like two women. I remember that at the time I was following two female wrestling fans that had strokes that the Iconics got fired. And I was like, oh, they're on TNA right now. You know what those two women said to me? I don't care. It's not the same. So you don't support these fucking people. You don't. And guess what? Both women now are out of wrestling. They're just out of it. They're not doing wrestling anymore because nobody fucking supported them when they tried to keep wrestling. Nobody. None of these fucking fans who bitched and cried because they basically, a lot of these WWE fans, when these people get fired, they just die because, oh, you're not on WWE. I'm not going to go watch you in MLW. I'm not going to go watch you in TNA. I'm not going to go watch you in New Japan. You don't exist anymore. Well, guess what? Then you know what? Then these people are never going to grow. So go fuck yourselves.
I believe the Iconics did something at WrestleMania weekend.
They blew each other.
Okay. Yeah, they did. Right.
Well, they're back. Okay, I think they are kind of back, but like it's not what it was. And if you really were that upset that the Iconics got fired, you should have ordered Bound for Glory 2021. You should have put your money where your mouth is and been like,
Yeah,
I
but
believe in these two
these are
girls.
these are the marks. These are the people who they do a lot of virtual signaling online. They do a lot of like they don't ever put their money where their mouth is. Meaning, they go like it's terrible. They should have never fired the Iconics, but then they won't follow them to wherever they go and start watching TNA. No, no, no. They're above watching TNA. They'll go. WWE is
Evil.
evil company for working with the Saudis. I'm never gonna watch them again. They'll say that. They'll tweet that. They'll post that. They're still gonna watch. These are the marks. Those are marks. They're never. They never. You can go back and follow us, man. Since 2000 and
20.
since 2020, I've been saying Tony Khan is just like everybody else. He's not some kind of savior. We haven't changed our tune. It's been 5 years. I just haven't changed my tune. You know.
Yeah, and at the end of the day, I think if you're Nick Khan, or you're like, and let's, because now there's not wrestling people involved in WWE. If you're sitting there and you're like, okay, we don't really see anything as Dakota Kai, why keep her around? Here's the deal: you fire her, she proves you wrong. Let's say Dakota Kai goes to AEW and becomes the biggest star in the world. She proves you wrong. Well, now when Dakota Kai wants to come to the table, you're like, wow, we were proven wrong. Here's a deal for $20 million a year. Da, da, da. Because she's not going to prove you wrong in WWE because they have no room for her. They have no room for her. So go somewhere else and prove me like Drew McIntyre. Drew McIntyre proved them wrong.
Mm-hmm.
Cody Rhodes proved everyone. They can fire him, but he proved everyone wrong. So Dakota Kai, you think that you should be like the main event of WrestleMania? Go somewhere and become undeniable, and then go back to the negotiating table, Nick Khan, and be like, "You were wrong. You fat tub of shit. I want $20 million." There you go.
So, with that being said, so far, let me just go through that list one more time. It hasn't
Yeah,
been
let me know if
updated.
anyone got updated. Any
Yeah,
people got
Katana Chance, Caden Carter, who were tag teaming, Dakota Kai, Braun Strowman, Shayna Baszler, Cora Jade, Eddie Thorpe, Gigi Dolan, and Jakara Jackson. Those are the people who have
the
been
only
released so far.
Honestly, I hate to be a dick. Instead of Cora Jade, I probably would have fired the Viking Raiders, and I would have fired Candice LeRae before her. I think there's more of an upside with Gigi than the. I think the Viking. I'm sorry, I don't mean to be a dick, but I
Wait,
would have fired
Viking
them
Raiders are who? Viking Raiders are who?
and Candice LeRae.
Candice LeRae. Who the fuck is? I would have fired. I would fire Candice LeRae.
And
I
I would have
would
kept good Gigi
say.
Dolan.
I would say. I don't know if you've been watching, but SmackDown's tag division is
Fire,
really fucking good. But
dude.
you
They
know what?
got the 5-star match from Dave Meltzer.
And you know what I would say is well, one day when they wrestle in Japan, they will get that. But till then, I
No,
would
they
say
got
one
they
thing.
got 5 stars from Dave Meltzer, bro. That's how
Oh,
good
they
that match
did.
was. He
Oh
couldn't
yeah,
do
I
it.
don't think that was a 5-star match, but I don't give a fuck about Dave Meltzer. But anyway, I think the one thing about their tag team division that's kind of missing is they need like a big Hoth tag team. Because a lot of the guys are like the cruiserweight style fast, but if you threw in like one Haas tag team to like throw some of them around, like kind of, and I think that could be the Viking Raiders.
Dude, I think. Do you know what I would do? I would go one step further. SmackDown. That's where the tag division is. If you're a tag team, you're on SmackDown. No tag
Dude,
division on Raw.
I
That's
would
what
say that when I was watching SmackDown last week, I was like, this reminds me of the WCW 1996 formula. Because a lot of the only thing is the cruiserweight is in a tag team format. You know,
Mhm.
they got all this crazy action, and then they've got like the storyline main event guys. It's like this SmackDown kind of has that winning formula. Like, how do you feel about that? Do you not? Do you
I
think?
don't watch SmackDown because I just don't get it. I But yeah, I kind of see that. I think I think these guys really wanted to prove to Triple H when you should have put us on WrestleMania. But I would also say this: you got 30 minutes on SmackDown. You weren't going to get 30 minutes on either WrestleMania night. So I think this worked out for your benefit because I think this match is going to go down as a legendary match.
Yeah, but it's not just them. They also had another tag team match on that same episode. Fraxium, who now joins SmackDown
Oh, I heard
against
that was good.
yeah the Garzas. That was a good tag team match too. And they have right now for the U.S. title, they got Jacob Fatu, L.A. Knight, Drew McIntyre, Damian Priest, and Solo Sikoa kind of all in the mix. and I don't know, something about that 5 combination. It's like it could go to like you can. None of these guys feel like jobbers. You know what I'm saying? It's not like anybody's lopsided. They all feel like because everybody the company can get behind at any moment. Any of those guys. So it feels really like it was like I was like, this is pretty interesting. It's I do like that formula. I like what they got going on SmackDown. I would recommend people to keep following that.
I
It
agree.
reminds me of 1996 WCW, which is what we're going to be covering today, which is fantastic.
Yeah. One second. Ooh. 96 WCW. I really like this show, but also I'm not gonna lie to you. You can start to see the problems that would eventually cause Vince to come roaring back, especially when it comes to the NWO. But I did love this show. What do you think about that?
I agree. This is Halloween Havoc 1996. We're already now into October, and WCW is still cooking. They still got that formula. They've got the formula down, and they're cooking. But you're right; they're starting to get a little. You're starting to see a little couple of cracks. It's like a chef that's doing great, and then he's getting a little too arrogant. So he's like not prepping the onions as well as he should, or something. You know?
This is the problem. This is the problem with the NWO angle, and I love it. And I'm having a good time. The problem with the NWO angle isn't WWF. The main theme of the angle isn't WWF awesome, and wasn't 80s WWF awesome? When Roddy Piper screams, "Do you remember WrestleMania?" The place goes nuts. And it's like, you fucking idiots. You know what that means? That means Vince is over. You're not, this company isn't over because people are like, yeah, I do remember WrestleMania. I wish it was as good. Because right now, when we're where we are in the timeline, WrestleMania sucks. I wish it was as good as it used to be. And but like still you're using Vince's creation to pop the crowd. Remember WrestleMania? And
I
it's like,
believe this is the argument everybody has had with NWO. The end goal should have been WCW win, but that's where they really fuck. This is why Eric Bischoff's an idiot, though. This is why I can't take anything he says seriously, because it's like, dude, a 12-year-old could figure this out. Do you know what I'm saying? But he could. You're telling me Eric Bischoff couldn't figure this out? He doesn't understand wrestling. Eric Bischoff's not an idiot. He just doesn't know wrestling. He doesn't get wrestling. He likes to act like he does. He likes to pretend that he does because that's the business he's in. But he's like Goldberg. Goldberg was successful in wrestling, but he never understood wrestling, and even he's admitted it. At least Goldberg was man enough to admit that. Eric Bischoff's the same thing. He's successful in wrestling, but he doesn't get wrestling. He doesn't understand wrestling. And that's why I can't ever take his opinions on AEW or anything ever. By the way, speaking of Eric Bischoff, with another news that came out from May of 2025, Eric Bischoff and Hulk Hogan are starting a new wrestling company.
But it's like college wrestling.
It's going to bomb. This is going to bomb so bad.
Horrible idea. Horrible idea.
This man does not understand wrestling. He's such a fucking idiot. This guy.
His only thing, his whole business, his whole like, which is frustrating because he does a lot of things right, and he doesn't understand. I don't think he understands what he's doing right here in 1996. But his only business plan is, I'm gonna do something with Hulk Hogan. That's his whole fucking business plan. If Hulk Hogan's not around, he could give two fucking shits about wrestling. But it's like, bro, like, no, Hogan, you can use Hogan to make all these other things you're doing right. You can elevate them. Here's the other thing. Who's the only member of the NWO on the show like a fucking idiot? It's the Giant. And the Giant is not from, at this point, the WWF. So, again, the whole message of the show is WWF is awesome. Not current WWF. They fucking suck. But all WWF is awesome. And here's all the cool WWF guys beating the shit out of these loser WCW guys. Aren't you glad you're watching us? Because we're the good WWF.
Yeah, but it's not even old WWF because it got Razor and Diesel, which were only like a year ago. Not even a year ago, you know?
I know, but there's still WWF guys.
It just basically means WWF is better, and that's why. I mean, like I said, even a fucking 12-year-old could notice, like, hey, that's not a good storyline to do. Ultimately, you're gonna have to pivot.
I mean, you can do that storyline, but the end of the storyline should be WCW
Yeah,
takes them out, destroys them,
yeah,
and like, oh, we
obviously,
were better the whole time.
only person who didn't understand that is Eric Bischoff. That's why
Yeah,
he's an idiot. That's why
yeah,
he's a buffoon. But
yeah.
let's go over it. Halloween Havoc, a night of terror and suspense, taking place October 27th, 1996, at the MGM Grand in Nevada. 10,000 people were in attendance, and it drew 250,000 pay-per-view buys. Let's do some comparison and see how WCW is doing in business so far. Halloween Havoc 1995 had 120,000 pay-per-view buys. So this is over 100,000 more pay-per-view buys from the previous year. How are they doing in WWF at this time?
Mhm.
WWF is running Buried Alive, In Your House Buried Alive on October 20th. So 7 days before Halloween Havoc, they had their pay-per-view, which had about which had about 9,600 people in attendance and 100,000 pay-per-view buys. So WCW is kicking their ass in attendance and in pay-per-view buys and in creative storylines. It's not even a contest at this point. At this
And
point, WWF is TNA at this point.
and this is the start. And Halloween Havoc, starting from now to the end, is always at the MGM Grand in Vegas. Bischoff loved that building. I think the building makes it feel big time.
Mm-hmm.
Um, and I think it adds a little extra oomph to Halloween Havoc. Bischoff has said he considered Halloween Havoc the WrestleMania, not Starrcade. I think he means that in hindsight, but this does feel like a big deal. And I think you being in Vegas, especially now that I've been in Vegas for WrestleMania, it was a good move to always have this show in Vegas. I'll give them that.
Yeah. Um. All right. So we got the first match. Let's actually, before we get to that, we have the intro to the show is Eric Bischoff addressing the NWO, as Randy Savage looking like the hero, and not Tommy, Tony Schiavone,
Tommy
uh,
Dreamer.
Bobby the Brain Heenan, and American Dream Dusty Rhodes on commentary. Let's go to our opening match, which
I,
is a cruiser.
wait,
Yes.
wait. I like their little shirts, their little dress shirts with the Halloween Havoc logo. I thought that was a nice look for the announcers.
Oh yeah, yeah, that is. They should
Mhm.
sell some. I mean, they probably don't even have it anymore, but that would
They
have been
can
awesome.
how hard would it be to make that? And then you could upsell on a WWE shop for like $50, $60. Look at this. This is new. I'm wearing a Bash at the Beach shirt hat I got for $10 on a WWE shop.
So WWE is actually doing a good job then. If they're like taking advantage of like old logos and stuff and selling merch. That's smart.
If I walked into Walmart and there was a bunch of WCW shirts like at Walmart prices, which is like I would buy them all. Like you know what I mean? Like there's definitely a market for it. But yeah, I got this
There's
Bash at
definitely
the
market
Beach
for it.
hat. Nice, right?
That is cool. I can't believe WWE made that shirt. It says WCW Bash the Beach.
Yeah, I love it. I also
That's
have a
pretty.
Starcade hat, which I'll be wearing for Starcade in a few weeks. So
Yeah. Well, good on WWE. They're making all this merch with the things that they already own. Good.
they need money so they can rehire Corey Jade. So
Yeah. Let's go to our first match. It is for the cruiserweight title. We got Dean Malenko, who comes out holding a Rey Mysterio mask versus Rey Mysterio, the champion. Dean Malenko attacks right away, but Rey Mysterio is a little faster than Dean Malenko, and he's able to get his mask back from the mask. So what happened was on a show, Dean Malenko beat up on Rey Mysterio and stole his mask, and that's why he's holding it. And he brings it to with him, and Rey Mysterio beats him up. He takes that mask back, and then he changes his mask in the ring, which was I thought very interesting. I've
hmm
never seen that happen, but he changed his mask. He put the original one back on, and they start fighting. Dean Malenko, he chucks Ray into the ropes really hard. Ray almost lands on his head when he gets thrown into ropes, and then disallowed, but he doesn't. And Dean Malenko just begins the beatdown process, starts beating up Rey Mysterio, and then Ray starts firing back. He does some great moves, like a twisting corkscrew, like to the outside, just great high flying moves. He hits his West Coast pop, which gets only a two, and this is the move he does where he springboards off the top rope he lands on you and he does the Hurricane Rana and then turns it into a pin. Well, anyway, he tries it again.
Mm-hmm.
And there's that rule in wrestling: you don't try and move 2 times, especially if it worked the first time. You don't do it again second time, because when you do it the second time, it'll fucking backfire, and it backfired here.
Especially with Dean Malenko.
Yeah, especially with Dean Malenko, who's a man of 1,000 moves. He knows everything. Ray does the West Coast pop, springboard. Dean Malenko catches him and hits him with a sit-out power bomb. Fans loved it because it was a cool spot. And then Dean hits a red. What?
The pop was huge.
Yeah, because
when the match started, I think when the match started, I think a lot of people were just there for the NWO, right? The Hogan.
Yeah.
And these two guys got people invested in this match. At the end, people are treating this like it's the main event. You know?
Yeah.
It's fucking into it, man.
And then Dean Malenko hits his gut wrench powerbomb off the second turnbuckle to win the match. What a hot way to start the pay-per-view. I gave it a B+. I think it's worth watching, definitely.
I love this match. I loved it. I was like, dude, there's Rey Mysterio in '96, I think, is probably the best worker in the world. I think he's better than Shawn Michaels. I think he's better than Steve Austin. I think he's better than so many people, and he's 21. How they in the back talking about Kevin Sullivan, Eric Bischoff, all these fucking guys, how they didn't see this match and go like, one of these two guys should be our world champion by the end of '98. How they did not see that fucking vision is beyond me. Like, bro, this
it was
is the
too small. This is 1996. You know, you didn't have guys like that small be champion. It just wasn't a thing.
Dude, Vince did it, and Vince hates small people. But he gave
He didn't do it in 1996.
Did it 10 years later, 2006.
Yeah, 10 years later, but you're not going to do that as 1996. It's
all I'll say is Vince. This is my thing. We don't do this. We're not gonna do it. Vince just did whatever he wanted. If Vince saw a guy small that he thought was marketable, he gets behind that guy. I guarantee you, if Rey Mysterio went to WWF first and beat Shawn Michaels for the belt, then went to WCW, they'd be throwing world titles at him left and right. You tell me who the main eventer is. I don't tell you. You tell me. And this guy is proving, and Dean Malenko, and DDP, and Eddie Guerrero, and 20 other fucking guys in this card, that they should be the main event in 2 years, and you just completely ignore it. And that's why you're out of business.
Yeah, I would say Dean Malenko is also very good in his role at this point too, because there's a reason why he's kind of like the foundation of the cruiserweight division, is because Dean Malenko, he's a cruiserweight because of his size. He's small, but he's not a high flyer like Rey. He's more of a grounded wrestler, and it works well against Rey Mysterio, who's a high flyer. You know, you hit him with the power moves from Dean Malenko, and Dean Malenko gets hit with a whole bunch of high flying moves. It doesn't look good when it's Rey Mysterio and like Super Colo, you know, and they're both doing high flying shit and no selling. You know, it's just
what I like about this finish is that Dean Malenko is traditionally like a mat based guy, right? Wants his plan is I'm gonna submit Rey Mysterio.
Yes.
But then when he's up there, he's like, fuck it, I gotta do a high impact move or I'm not gonna win this. And he does a high impact move, and because he never does it, and because it's a guy who's not, it's so impactful, Rey can't kick out. And what I love about WCW, and this has been true since we've started this journey with NWA, WCW, is a lot of times the finish is, I'm just going to hit this guy with anything because I want to win and get the fuck out. And that's what this finish was, which is great because it conditions the crowd. I think the same thing happened with Ric Flair and Sting a few times. It conditions the crowd that the match can end at any time. 5 years later, if they had this match in WWE, they would have been like, no, you have to hit the Texas Cloverleaf, and then he has to hit the West Coast Pop because those are the moves. They would not let that be the finish. But what makes it exciting is that, no, you don't get the Texas Cloverleaf. You're going to get this because he just wants to win. If I just want to get the fuck out of here and get my belt. I love it.
Absolutely. Yeah, that's good. That's good storytelling. So after this match, Lee Marshall, he's in the back with Jeff Jarrett, who's going to be stepping up the Giant instead of Ric Flair. Yes, that's right. Cool J. Jeff Jarrett, no gimmick at all. He's still wearing he's the exact same Jeff Jarrett from WWF.
Oh my God.
And he's going to be stepping up to the Giant instead of Ric Flair because they're on the same side. Ric Flair endorses him and he goes, hey, Giant's not gonna choke slam me. And all of a sudden, Ric Flair joins, and he
Thank
says,
God.
"Hey, I set Jeff Jarrett up for a meet and greet because he's that popular." And he goes, "Savage, I don't like you, but I'm supporting you tonight against the NWO." They're basically Ric Flair's dare to give Jeff Jarrett the rub that, hey, I endorse this guy, so you guys have to like him too. This is so weird. Right? This is that doesn't work for me, brother. It doesn't work.
To
What would
go
they?
from Dean and Ray to Jeff Jarrett, and he keeps doing this, ha ho, ha ho, ha ho. Do you notice he does that? Ha ho. Who the fuck told him that's good to do? Ha ho, ha ho, Lee Marshall, ha ho. He's such a how the fuck was this guy wrestling Hangman Adam Page at MJF in 2025? This guy's still around. If you told me I wasn't watching, but if you told me I was sitting watching Halloween having a nice thing, this guy was going to be around 30 years from now, I would have jumped out a fucking window. Like, oh God, he's such a loser. And then Flair
I
comes
don't
out. But
know how he took. I don't know how like somebody said this guy should be not only a good guy, but he's gonna be endorsed by like Ric Flair. Like this is not a role for Jeff Jarrett. Like Jeff
and
Jarrett should have been a heel.
we have four. It would have been better for him to be in the NWO, quite frankly. We have
Yeah,
four NWO matches, and he's going to have one of them. Like all the guys in the roster, I would have preferred Bobby Eaton fighting the fucking Giant than this guy. But Ric Flair, the minute he starts talking, just outshines Jeff Jarrett. Can't even hold a candle to Ric Flair when he starts cutting that promo. It's embarrassing. It's like really like you're wasting the Giant. Nobody thinks this guy can beat the Giant. Give me a fucking break.
very. It's definitely an unbelievable thing.
But, but before we continue, what I do like about Flair is I love the theme in WCW that was like, yeah, we had our differences, but this is bigger than that, and I want you to win. Because
Yeah,
it's like it's the NWO. If they win, there is no more WCW, which proved to be true. So it's like we can go back to our bullshit, but you got to win tonight.
yes, I do like that theme. It's they're you know what's good about it too is they're continuing it. You saw the progression of this happening where Ric Flair's more and more horsemen are going, I don't like you, but NWO's the threat. NWO's the threat. And they keep going with it. So there's continuity. I like that.
Yeah.
Let's go to our match number 2. It is for a battle for the ring. That's right, the Dynamite Diamond Ring. We got DDP versus Eddie Guerrero. So Diamond Dallas Page has the ring, but he's acting like he doesn't have it. He's basically saying, "I don't have it. I lost it, or whatever." So this match is for a phantom ring, I guess. DDP spits gum at Eddie Guerrero right away, and Eddie Guerrero is just all over DDP, just beating him up. He's mad, and Eddie has control of the entire match in the beginning until DDP crotches Eddie on the top rope, and then he slams him onto the ring post. By the way, the ring post. This is a very Slim Jim sponsored pay per view, so there's padded ring posts that say Slim Jim on it, and so when wrestlers are getting slammed on the post, commentators have to go like, "Oh, I know those posts are padded, but they're not really that padded. It still hurts."
By the way, WWE, this is how you do a sponsorship deal. I think this ring looks fantastic. It looks so much better than the rings they have now, like at WrestleMania and stuff. This is how you do a sponsorship.
Yeah, I know, and you know what you could do too. I know because they're doing it with the LED light stuff, but if you put like the padding on the post afterwards, you could also auction off those pads. You know that?
But by the way, this came with the Macho Man deal that Slim Jim was going to sponsor WCW and sponsor a show where Macho Man was in the main event. So by the way, so since '94, they've known they've had to put Savage in this main event for the Slim Jim sponsor show. So Savage, Bishop has said Savage paid for himself because they made so much money on the sponsorship. It's like they got Savage for free when he came over.
Yeah, I can't believe Junior never took advantage of this.
I mean, I think it. The way they're doing it now, I think the ring looks really ugly with all the different sponsorship deals they have in the ring. This is the way to do it. One sponsor, one like color scheme. It looks great, and like people have said, I've seen people online be like, the Halloween Havoc Slim Jim rings are some of my favorite ring designs, and I agree.
No, but I'm saying is why didn't when Macho Man
Oh,
was in WWF, why didn't he take advantage of this?
he did, but Slim Jim didn't want WWE. They wanted Macho Man, so they went with Macho Man. When he left, they went with him.
Oh no, when Junior had Macho Man in WWF.
Because he didn't want to put anything on the ring. He never wanted to put anything in the ring. Vince.
Yeah, okay. Yeah. That makes sense. Yeah, he didn't want any other thing on the ring. I bet you he's watching now and he's just like, "Oh, what the fuck are they doing?"
I
he's,
mean, he was
he's
right. It
seeing
looks like
Prime Energy drink. He's seeing Clash of Clans every time. He's probably
yeah,
like, "Oh, what
he's
the
kind of
fuck are
right.
they?"
He's kind of right.
Yeah.
But
All right, getting back to this match. By the way, the referee in this match of Eddie Guerrero versus DDP is referee Nick Patrick, who's supposed to be
oh
his
boy,
heel. He is like an evil NWO wrestler. He's always got this neck brace on, and he's always like commentaries are wondering, is this guy like on the take? Is he going to be fair tonight? We don't know. DDP gets in a shoving match with Nick Patrick, and then Nick Patrick shoves DDP back, and he gets all up in DDP's face, and the fans love it, even though this guy's a bad guy. Eddie Guerrero, he fires back and he hits a top rope crossbody to the floor. You do see the bowl cut kid in this. Do you see the bowl cut kid?
yeah.
Yeah, he's there.
Big aesthetic.
Yeah. And then DDP hits a flapjack, and then he hits a sit out power bomb, and then he hits his diamond cutter to win the match. Afterwards, Diamond Dallas Page does get his ring back from Nick Patrick, who had it in his pocket the whole time, and he gives it to him, and he's like, "Oh, he didn't lose it." This was also, in my opinion, a very good match. I gave this a B plus. I liked it.
Um, I thought it was great. What was shocking to me, which I never realized, how
What?
big DDP is. When he was standing next to Eddie Guerrero, I'm like, this fucking guy's a big guy. Like you don't think about it until you see him next to Eddie Guerrero. But you
Yeah.
know what, DDP is the example of if you put the work in, you can be anything you want. Like he's not good. A year before, he's okay, but he's not the greatest. The work he's put in from like 94 to today is just he is improving night and day. And him and Eddie
Yeah.
Guerrero had a great match. And man, when you don't really watch wrestling or you just kind of see highlights, you're like, really, they push DDP. But now we're watching month to month. Man, this guy, he's the type of guy that he identifies what he does wrong and he tries to fix it. And a lot of guys aren't like that. He's a completely different wrestler than he was at the beginning of 1995, man. He's gotten so good.
Yeah, I think I'm enjoying his matches. It's fantastic.
Yeah,
Um,
he it's I wish more wrestlers were like him where they acknowledge what I'm doing is not working. I need to change everything. And he's a guy like Rey Mysterio. I would show some of these AEW guys and be like, look at the subtle changes this man makes every month to month. You should do that.
they should, but not everybody's DDP, who
I
is
know.
still in it today. After this match, we got Mike Tenay. He is with Randy Savage, and they are there to draw the winner of the Slim Jim Macho Man Truck, I guess, competition, drawing from a contest, basically. And Macho Man, just him drawing the winner for this Slim Jim Truck contest is so entertaining. He's just so fun to watch.
Yeah.
Like the little things he says, the way he acts. Uh, uh, it's Joan McCallick. She is the person who won the Slim Jim Truck, and what do you call it? I mean, to me, that was it. I mean, it's that's it. That's all that happened. But it was, I can't describe it. It's just really fun watching Macho Man just even do this. It was really, it's just
It was
entertaining.
really good. There was a part of me, there was a small part of me that was like, I wish he wasn't doing this, but I understand the NWO storyline. This is like the beginning of like sometimes you have to bend to the corporation. And he did
Yes.
it in such a way that it didn't really take away too much from the storyline. Like
Yeah. Uh huh.
he needs to serve the corporate master, you know?
Yeah. Yeah. You're right. Like you're kind of like he's the main event. You want him to be more serious than be basically a shill. But you gotta do. It's at the end of the day, it's a business. You got to be a spokesman, and he did it in a way where it was so entertaining. that you forgave him that he was a show for a moment.
Yeah, he's not worried about that Elizabeth's missing and Hogan's trying to like end his life. You know what I mean? But
Yeah,
like, yeah, it was fun. But this is kind of the beginning because now WWF is all this where people break character 2 minutes after dying to like sponsor Clash of Clans. But
yeah,
this was the beginning of that.
yeah. So after this, we see Chris Jericho. He's chanting with fans in the CompuServe chat room, and they do tell us this is 1996. You could actually listen to the entire Halloween Havoc audio, kind of like a radio on the CompuServe website. That was
That's
pretty interesting.
insane. They had that back then. That's insane.
Yeah. So you can't watch it, but you could hear everything that's happening on a website. That's
I
so
would have
funny.
done that. I would, if I had the internet speed, I would have done that.
Yeah, I think if you couldn't afford the pay-per-view, that's one thing you could do for free, you know. Um, um Mike Tenay, he is with Dean Malenko, who just won the and Dean Malenko is going like, I'm gonna take on every single challenger. I'll take on every challenger, even Rey Mysterio, I'll take him on again. And this is the kind of like the flaw you see in Dean Malenko. It's a very boring promo. There's nothing to it. He's just very vanilla, you know? And I was like, this is why Dean Malenko could never be the man, you know?
But you know what? Dean Malenko's strength, he's the only guy to me that can get away with not talking, and the only thing I'm good at is being in the ring. That's his strength. The strength is not talking. The strength is I'm going to let my actions talk. And I think that there was a way to market that. He's the only guy I think you could have done more with without giving him a personality.
Yeah, probably. Probably.
There's not a lot of guys like that, but he's one of them.
Yeah, I see what you're saying. There's not, yeah, right. There's not a lot of guys you could do that with. Dean Malenko you could kind of get away with it a little bit. Yeah.
You know what? Give him manager. Give him Sonny Ono. No, give him no, but give him mouthpiece. Give him like put him in a faction and have someone talk for him. Like, and let that guy put like Paul. You know who would be a great manager for him? Let's say it's today, like it's right now, and he's Paul Heyman. He would be a great like he's the third guy with Braun and Seth. Paul Heyman do the talking for him, and then letting Dean go in the ring. That's fucking money. You know?
Yeah, if they, because you're right, he needs like a mouthpiece. He needs someone to speak for him, and yeah, I think Paul Heyman would have been perfect for him. After this, we go back to the crowd, and Ted DiBiase, who is now with WCW, he's in the crowd. He's got the Giant with him.
Well, he's with the NWO, brother. Don't get it confused.
That's right. He is with the NWO, and he calls Jeff Jarrett a fool for wanting to face the Giant. And the video starts panning out. The camera starts panning out, and who do we see standing right next to Ted DiBiase? But Virgil, who now goes by the name Vincent. Yes, that's right. Virgil is also there. So this is still playing off WWF because this is a pairing from WWF.
Brother, I got breaking news. I hope you're okay.
Uh-oh.
I hope everyone's okay. This is the hardest thing I've ever had to say. Gallus has been released by WWE.
Oh my gosh.
Dude,
they released Gallus?
Gallus is
They
over.
released all 3 members of Gallus. Oh, why did they do this?
Do you like Gallus? I have no interest in Gallus.
No, but Gallus, they did a lot. Like they trained with they helped The Rock train to get back into shape like last year and stuff. And I thought like that alone should kind of, dude, why the fuck is Rock's daughter there? She sucks. Get rid of her.
Listen, you can't fuck with The Rock, all right? Come on, bro.
I think Riley Osborne also got fired.
Oh, I don't even know who that is. So
yeah, I don't even know who that is really. Yeah.
All right, let's go to people that matter. Don't get fired.
Yeah, let's go to people who matter. Ted DiBiase and Virgil. Yeah. So yeah, Vincent is there as well. This is right from the pages of WWF. And so the NWO, they're not coming out the regular mentions. They're just coming out to the crowd, kind of like the Shield. What?
I like that. I kind of like that. Like, why would they be in the dressing room? They're invaders. So like, it feels like they're all in a van, and then like Ted DiBiase calls them like, okay, you got to come out. You know what I mean?
I actually agree. I do like that, and I do like that Ted DiBiase is there. He's kind of like the financer of I mean the NWO. So I kind of
Yeah,
like that. Um, so
it's
Giant
like
goes, yeah,
they don't even get announcement. Ted DiBiase has to announce them. You
yeah,
know?
yeah. Ted DiBiase is their announcer. The Giant goes to the ring from the crowd. He's got the U.S. belt with him, and Nick Patrick, who's the referee for this, remember he's like this heel paid off referee. He holds it up on display like it's being, like it's on the line this match. And the commentary team is annoyed because they're like, the Giant's not even the U.S. champion. He just stole that belt. There's no title on the line, folks. That's this. What is Nick Patrick doing holding it up? But we're gonna go into our third match: the Giant versus Jeff Jarrett, who comes out with Ric Flair, who's still trying to endorse Jeff Jarrett. Jeff, so Jeff Jarrett's supposed to be the good guy, right? But when the Giant starts beating up Jeff Jarrett, the fans like love it, right? They're cheering for the Giant.
It's about Jeff Jarrett.
Yeah, Giant just beats off Jeff Jarrett, including a low blow, headbutt that Bobby the Brain Heenan liked, enjoyed. He goes, "Wow!" I like this "wow" that he said. Uh, uh, Ric Flair just gets the fans are not behind Jeff Jarrett, so Ric
No,
Flair in this match has to get on the microphone mid match and go, "Get up, Jeff! Come on, kick the NWO's ass!" Like to kind of get the fans like fired up. That's like legit what's happening because like Ric Flair's like, this is not turning out the way we want it to be. So Jeff Jarrett starts firing back and he tries to slam the Giant, but he can't. And then he does do a crossbody that gets the Giant down for a 1 count. They go down the outside. Giant hits the padded ring post, and he has to act like he's hurt, but it's padded. So Tony Schiavone's like covering for him, goes, "Well, that ring post padding is not as thick as you fans think. It's kind of pretty thin." Ric Flair low blows the Giant, which gets a DQ, and then all the Horsemen they come in and join the ring. This was stupid. This match should have been off the pay-per-view. I give us a C plus.
you know what I feel like this match is? I feel like somebody went to Hogan and they're like, the NWO's gotta look stupid in a match. We gotta give them some hope, Hogan. And Hogan sat there, he's like, "Oh yeah, brother, you're right, brother. We gotta give the fans a little bit of the
Yeah,
Giant, brother. We'll have the Giant look like a fucking idiot, brother. Yeah, 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 yeah. None of our guys, but the Giant. Yeah. Hey, Giant, brother, come here. You know, it's gonna look really good for you, dude. If you get the shit beat out of you by the Four Horsemen, brother. We gotta keep the story going, dude. And I can't get beat up by the Four Horsemen, brother, but you can do it, brother. Like that's what it feels like to me. Like we need to make someone because no one at the end of the O comes out to help the Giant either. Like
yeah,
guys run
yeah.
out for
That's a good point.
everything. Yeah, it just felt like we need to make someone look dumb, and bro, the damage they did to the Giant in a year is just unbelievable. Unbelievable how they fucking ruined this guy's life before he even had a life.
Yeah, the way you described probably like how Hogan probably pitched this, I can kind of believe. Like it's
You gotta
really dumb. It's just like, yeah, like this made no sense. It made Giant look stupid, and I can see somebody was like, dude, you can't just have NWO win everything. So he was like, all right, well, who could I fucking take the fucking fall? Not gonna be me, brother. Right? It's like it's got to be the Giant. Yeah, that's exactly what it was, which is stupid. It is dumb. Um,
uh, but I will say, yeah, I
this
mean,
was
look,
dumb. This was
it was
dumb. Yeah.
it should have been anybody else, but fucking Jeff Jarrett. It's
Yeah,
just
nobody buys that. Nobody buys that Jeff Jarrett's gonna beat the Giant in any shape or form. You know what I'm saying?
yeah.
It just nobody bought it. So yeah, it was stupid. Let's just move on because that leaves a bad taste in my mouth. DiBiase, he's still in the crowd with Virgil. This time six. That's right. The former 1-2-3 kid from WWF. He's there. And he goes, six is going to win the next match. We're 1 for 3. NWO has 3 matches tonight. We already won the first one. Even if it's DQ, it's still a win. And he goes, Jericho, what do you call it? Six goes, Jericho is the best cruiserweight, next best cruiserweight after six. That's what Ted DiBiase says. And then six gives a promo, but his promo of Jericho isn't good at all. But whatever, it's gonna go to our fourth match.
By the way, did you notice how like fucking out of shape Six was?
No, he didn't look. He's always had a little stomach punch.
He got a belly winner.
He's always had that.
But his face exploded too, dude. He doesn't look good. He does not look good. Looks like he was eating donuts since Vince fired him or he quit, whatever the case
Well, it
was.
looks like he might be trying to bulk up, maybe too, because he is your
Probably I want to get out of this cruiserweight division and be seen like a main eventer.
Yeah, he probably wants to get out of the cruiserweight division, because this is a cruiserweight match. This is match number 4. It is Six versus Chris Jericho, who's billed as a cruiserweight. So this is going to be a cruiserweight match. They're both the same size. By the way, in this match, they show Kevin Sullivan, Conan, and Big Bubba Rogers sitting in the crowd watching this match. They're at the Dungeon of Doom. Six sends Jericho to the floor, and he just takes charge. He hits him with chops and everything. Jericho fights back. There's a springboard dive to the floor. Nick Patrick is the referee in this match as well, and he is making slow counts. And each time there's a near fall, his count gets slower and slower. The fans start noticing this. The fans start booing Nick Patrick. The commentary team starts noticing. They start questioning, like, dude, is it just me or is this count's getting even slower and slower every time? Finally, Jericho confronts Nick Patrick for all the slow counts. And this distraction allows Six to hit his spinning heel kick on Jericho to win the match. Afterwards, Jericho is really mad. And he's mad at Nick Patrick, who runs away, and he helps a Six to the back, who's got a bloody mouth, as they walk to the back. This story in this match, I actually enjoyed. I give this another B+ match. So far, this is
I don't know. I didn't get into this match. I thought Six was missing a step or two. I don't know. I couldn't get into it. I don't know. It was something like I didn't think. I don't know. It just feels like Six is like a step behind the other cruiserweights. I don't know.
Well, I think like Six. This was more of a Jericho. The story, like, this was more of a Jericho match. Six is just basically taking an ass kicking for most of this match, and it's like Jericho keeps beating this guy up and getting pinfalls, but the ref keeps fucking up the count. And that's why maybe Six looks like that, because he's purposely made to look weak. Like, he can't put in any offense till like near the end. So that was it. I mean, I enjoyed the story, so I actually liked it. Play it. If maybe you're right, maybe Six was completely out of shape, and that's why he couldn't move. But that, if anything, that just adds to the story as well, because like
I just don't think he's very oozy.
Yeah. But anyway, no, not yet, brother. Those guys are 10, 20 years. No, 30. They're 30 years. They're 35 years away. Yeah. Yeah. All right. So we got about. So after this, we got Mike Tenay. He's in the back with Lex Luger, who is mad at Arn Anderson because Arn Anderson's been blaming him for losing at War Games, and he's like, dude, I've had enough of this. You know what? I've had enough of people in WCW turning on each other. Someone from WCW has to step up, okay? And it's gonna be me. And he's doing this, and he's got this crazy new hairstyle, and I don't like his new haircut. Bobby the Brain Heenan doesn't like it either. He goes, Lex Luger's hair looks like Phyllis Diller. I was like, oh, that's true. It does look pretty bad. Did you like his new hairdo?
Did you notice he looked like he just took like a whole fucking case of steroids? I've never seen him look that big. He was breathing heavy. He looked like it's not out of shape. It's hard to describe, but he didn't look good, Lex Luger. I'll say that. He didn't look good. He looked like he injected all the drugs before he came up to the mic.
Well, he probably did. Yeah, you probably hit the nail right on the head with that one. But we're gonna go to our fifth match: Arn Anderson versus Lex Luger. These guys just don't like each other, and
it's your shoes.
Oh, okay. I was just reading a note that I didn't understand what I said. By the way, the entrance is set up like a graveyard, and one of the gravestones, the tombstones they had, was for Jim Crockett. The Crockett. I thought that was pretty funny.
I noticed the one that said Elvis is alive. I didn't notice I didn't notice that Jim Crockett. That's a shoot, brother. Well, he wasn't dead yet, but that's like that's ribbons. That's ribbon hard.
Yeah, that's ribbon hard, definitely. Yeah. Uh, Bobby the Brain Heenan in this match because remember Lex Luger's best friend is Sting. Really in and out of the ring actually, and Bobby the Brain Heenan mentioned Sting is kind of like an independent contractor. He's not WCW. He's not NWO, which this is one thing that they did get right. Really, I thought they did a good job with this. That Sting was like this weird X Factor guy, which made him so cool. And Lex Luger in this match starts working on. He works on Arn Anderson as the Dungeon of Doom, who's sitting at ringside. They're cheering on Lex Luger. They just can't stand the Horseman. And Arn Anderson spine busters Lex Luger and then sends him outside to the floor. And then like they fight some more and they fight in the ring and Lex Luger collides with the referee and the referee is down and Arn Anderson tries to cheat, but Lex catapults Arn Anderson into the ring post and then suplexes him on the floor. And then while the referee is still down, Lex Luger uses a chair on Arn Anderson. And then he racks Arn Anderson in the torture rack to win the match. But Lex Luger, after he won the match, he just won't release the hold because he's still mad at Arn Anderson. It's kind of like the commentators know this is probably payback for Fall Brawl. And then afterwards, he finally lets him go. Jeff Jarrett and Ric Flair, they come out and they start checking on Arn Anderson to booze as Arn Anderson is so injured, he gets put on a stretcher and he's probably going to get sent to the hospital. And I think Ric Flair and Jeff Jarrett are going to join Arn Anderson at the hospital. I like this match. I gave it a B. It's not a bad match. Did you like it?
Yes, this is a good match. This is also a historic match. This was the day Arn Anderson realized he had to retire. His arm froze on him in the gym. He literally was like lifting weights, and the arm just gave up and it dropped. And he felt like he didn't have the strength of a baby in the arm. And he went to the doctor, and they said, "Your career is pretty much done." So he had this match, and I think this finish had to do with we got to phase this guy out, which is why he got put on a stretcher. It also serves for the storyline later on with Benoit and McMichaels. But yeah, this is his last pay-per-view match. I do believe he said on his podcast this was my last match. He had other matches on Saturday night, WCW Saturday night, and they didn't like officially tell you he was retired. Like they didn't tell anybody until a year from now. But this was like for all intents and purposes his final match. This is his retirement match. So that's it.
Mm, interesting. All right, I didn't know that.
So
You know what? If that was his if that was his like final pay-per-view match, like major one, it's not a bad match to be your last one because it's pretty good. I liked it. Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, yeah, I enjoyed it, and he did the honors, brother. He got over Lex Luger.
Doing the honors, yes. Lee Marshall also does the honors as he's in the back, putting over the hotline. He's like, "Yo, where's Sting? Sting's absent. He's a free agent. Like, you want to find out more information on Sting? Call the hotline." And then Harlem Heat and their managers come out and they start talking about taking on the NWO. That's right. Now even Harlem Heat is getting involved with the NWO. They have a match later on. But before we get to that tag team match, we got another tag team match. This is tag team match number 6. We got the Faces of Fear, Meng and Barbarian, with Jimmy Hart, their manager, versus Mongo McMichael and Chris Benoit, who they both come out with Deborah and Woman.
Mongo died a week ago. Rest in peace. He got his release papers from God. So rest in peace. But let me tell you something. Brother. What a fucking match to go out on. I mean, what a match to watch the week he died. I love this match, man.
Yeah, this was interesting. Mongo, to begin this match, he is like scared of Meng. He's like, dude, I don't want to face Meng. Meng's kind of scares me. Even me. I'm a big dude, but even he scares even me. The Faces of Fear, they hit like a backdrop powerbomb move on Chris Benoit, which is a beautiful tag team move that gets a big pop from the crowd. Barbarian belly to bellies Chris Benoit off the top rope to a huge pop from the crowd too. I looked like that was a scary move. A belly to belly off the top rope. The the Faces of Fear, they hit a suplex splash on Chris Benoit, which gets another great reaction. Each time this is happening, they're doing all the moves on Chris Benoit, who's smaller, so it's easier to do the moves on him. Mongo has to come in and make a save, and he keeps like trying to make a save. And then he hits Then Mongo takes his briefcase and he hits Mang on the head with it. And this allows Chris Benoit to hit the flying headbutt on Mang to win the match. After the match, Barbarian is pissed off because Mongo cheated to win. So he hits Mongo with the briefcase and then power drives him. And then the Dungeon of Doom that's sitting at ringside, they all come in the match and they all start beating up Benoit. And there is no Arn, there is no Ric Flair, there is no Jeff Jarrett because they took Arn Anderson to the hospital. So
yeah,
Mongo and Chris Benoit just got their ass kicked by the Dungeon of Doom. I really like this match as well. I like the storyline involved. I like that even though there's NWO, there's still guys who hate each other in WCW, like the Dungeon of Doom and the Horsemen. I gave this a B. I really enjoyed it.
but you know what? All of this also has like a different, a better. It has also like it explains the main event later because the WCW guys are taking each other out. Like, Arn Anderson goes to the hospital, so Rick and Jeff have to go with him. Jericho got beaten up, so he's gone. The other Horsemen got the shit beat out of them. Like, they're all taking each other out, which means like Macho Man's by himself at the end, because everyone's gone because these people are so ridiculous taking each other out. So it works like that. You okay there,
Which
Oos?
is what Lex Luger had said.
Yeah. Like you're taking, yeah.
That's a good storyline. That's a good storyline too, because NWO is not a lot of guys at this point. There's only like 4 or 5 of them, and the fact that you're telling me an entire roster can't take out 4 or 5 guys is not believable. But if you're telling me that the entire roster is just like they're their own worst enemy, that's why these 4 or 5 guys can just do whatever they want because we are our own worst enemy, then that makes a compelling storyline. It's great. Yeah. I enjoy it. And you can also understand why people want to join the NWO now too, because they're like, "Fuck it, dude. When I'm here, when I'm Team WCW, I got fucking stupid ass Arn Anderson trying to kick my ass for no fucking reason, not trying to help me. I'd rather join NWO and make all that money. It makes a lot of sense. It's a good storyline, definitely is. This is why they're winning, and this is why people even to this day wear NWO shirts. Yeah.
Yeah. Oh, by the way, did you see how many NWO shirts from the crowd already by October? Like half the fucking crowds.
They're super over, yeah. And you know what? Here's the thing. I mentioned this before. 1996 WCW tag team division is super fucking. I think it's the best tag team division of all time. And Faces of Fear are just as good as any of these other tag teams like Harlem Heat, Steiner Brothers. They're just as good. This tag team division is so good, you forget that their Faces of Fear are in there. That's how good it is.
The fucking Mongo and Chris Benoit, one of the most underrated tag teams of all time.
Another good tag team. Yeah, another good tag team. This is I'm going to stand by the best tag team division of all time.
Yeah, but what I'm going to say, what I love about Benoit and Mongo is that they're the key because so many tag teams now don't follow this. It's like we just put 2 guys who look alike together, like the Young Bucks or fucking even Pretty Deadly. Those are all good tag teams. But to me, the best tag teams, which is what Mongo and it's 2 guys with 2 different styles. So whoever's in the ring, it becomes a different match. Mongo is power. Benoit is technical. Like they're really good. And I gotta what?
Like the Hart Foundation.
Yes, like the Hart Foundation. I gotta say, bro, like you really gotta think about what Mongo did. Let's think about it. This guy had like a training for like a day, and then they put him on the road, and he's figuring this stuff out in real time. So like when him and Ming are hitting each other with like the shoulder blocks, like this guy's just like winging it. He really doesn't have a lot of training. He's winging it. And if you think about it like that, that's pretty fucking impressive, bro. That's pretty impressive. He's doing a better job than a lot of other people who are like trained.
Yeah, he's doing a good job for someone who's basically learning on the fly,
On pay-per-view.
Yeah.
Against one of the toughest on the planet.
Yeah, you don't want to fuck around with this guy. Yeah.
Bro.
All right, so after this match, we cut back to Ted DiBiase with Vincent in the crowd again, and he goes, "Hey, it's 2-0. NWO's won 2 of their matches. All right,
Mm-hmm.
and we got a third match coming up, and guess what? We're gonna take those tag team titles, uh, and we're gonna take them to Nitro as well, because we're gonna win them tonight." And that goes right into our next match. It is for the tag team titles, Outsiders, which is Kevin Nash, Scott Hall versus Harlem Heat, who come out with Sherry and Colonel Rob Parker. And before this match begins, there's already an NWO chant. They're so like popular.
Can I tell you what the mistake?
Bobby the Brain Heenan. Go ahead.
Can I tell you what the mistake was in this match? The big mistake.
Do you want to get into it right away, or do you want to?
Yeah, from the jump,
Okay.
the big mistake, and then you keep going. Having Robert Parker and Sherry out there. They just the WCW team is not sympathetic with those two people out there.
Yeah, I can see that. Yeah. Yeah, the NWO is super over, and Bobby the Brain Heenan notes, "Look at how many NWO shirts are in the crowd." And I'm like, "Yep, that is true."
Mm-hmm.
Before the match begins, NWO just grabs the tag titles and they just hold it up and they start wearing it. Like they won the titles already before the match even begins. And guess what? The crowd cheers. The crowd loves it. It doesn't have anything, in my opinion, it's just because they love Kevin Nash, they love Scott Hall. Those two guys are just really, really cool. They were super popular. And as long as the NWO would not have been as cool as it was without these two guys in it.
100%.
Scott Hall starts a match with Booker T and he gets beat up. And then Scott Hall spits on Stevie Ray and Stevie Ray beats up on Kevin Nash and he spits on Hall back. Sherry kind of gets in action. She rakes Kevin Nash's eyes. Kevin Nash cheap shots Booker T and they start beating up on Booker T. That's where the heat comes in. Sherry gets on the apron and she slaps Scott Hall. And Scott Hall grabs her and he kisses her, which the crowd loves. They're so into that spot. Harlem Heat start fighting back though. They start fighting back after this, but then what happens is the referee's distracted and Ray's favorite manager, Colonel Rob Parker, he gets into the ring and he's got his Southern cane and he goes to hit Kevin Nash, but Kevin Nash turns around and looks at him and it scares Colonel Rob Parker. So Kevin Nash grabs the cane away from Parker, who runs away. He like legit just runs away all the way to the back. And he uses Nash takes the cane and he hits Stevie Ray with it and he wins the match with that. I kind of like that Rob Parker caused the Harlem Heat to basically lose these tag titles because it's going to be the beginning of the end of him associated with this group. So I kind of like that the managers were a little like I like that Harlem Heat wasn't beaten clean, because it'll make them look weak. This way, they kind of have an out that like, hey, we only lost the titles because of our stupid ass manager, who we didn't like to begin with. We just had to tolerate because of Sherry and he fucked us over. I kind of like that. I gave this a B because it was all right. You know, you didn't like this, huh?
No, I liked it, but I just think like you're not. We got to get these WC. We got to get the fans behind these WCW guys, and yeah, the Harlem Heat's a champion. We got to get the belts on the Outsiders, but no one has any sympathy for Harlem Heat with those two idiots out with them, and it makes Harlem Heat look so old fashioned. Ronald, like I would have said like a week before the pay-per-view, we have to do an angle where Robert Parker's out of here. We can get away with Sherry. We can't get away with Robert Parker. Now, yes, he factors into the finish so they don't beat them clean, right? But man, he just makes them look so uncool. And that's the problem. WCW constantly looks uncool compared to the NWO. And you got it's just little things like this, Andrew Lee, are what caused the downfall. And I just would not have had that guy out there with them. It just goes like, all right, now the Outsiders are the top baby faces, but you don't want to be the top baby faces. It just doesn't make any sense to me to have that fucking idiot out there. But anyway,
I think putting him there was always a bad idea, but I think this is where they're starting to move away from it. That's how it felt like. It felt like this.
I still wouldn't have had him there.
Yeah, I see. I get it. All right, so let's move right along, guys. After this match, there's this. They do an ad for World War III, and there's this weird conspiracy theory guy. He's like, "Oh, conspiracy theory," and he's like doing the promo. Who is this guy? Is he like a wrestler or something?
No, it's just the Turner Home division had no idea how to market these pay-per-views, and so they would just make the worst commercials known to me.
It reminded me of Danny Deals from NWA.
No, but these were all actors. If you ever saw anyone in these commercials that you don't know, it's just
they're just regular actors. Okay, okay.
Eric. This is what's insane to me with WCW. Even now in '96, and even in '98, Eric Bischoff and the other guys have no control over these commercials. They have no control over the ads. They have no control on how the VHS covers are put or the wording. That's all Turner Home Entertainment. Turner Home Entertainment could have made a commercial that was like World War III fucking stinks. You shouldn't order it, and they have to air it. Like and there's just nowhere they can go to, which is wild to me. Wild. So yeah.
Yeah. So after this, we get Hulk Hogan. Hulk Hogan's in the back cutting a promo, and he has got this surfer Sting haircut, right? We're talking blonde, like short blonde crew cut, kind of with more long hair in the back, it's a crew cut in front and then like party mullet in the back. And he cut his promo. He's got the NWO, and he's like, dude, I'm making movies. Watch my movie Santa with Muscles. I got this movie, Three Ninjas, coming out. Man, but I'm tired of putting the chokehold on Hollywood. Now it's time for me to put the chokehold on Randy Savage. And he goes, and it's time for Hollywood. Like I loved it. I wish he would have kept that catchphrase. That catchphrase is so funny. It's time for Hollywood. I enjoyed this heel Hulk Hogan promo because like it's entertaining, and he's also like Hulk Hogan was making movies. Like he's not lying. He was making these fucking movies. And his haircut is ridiculous. We're gonna get into haircut later, but I enjoyed this promo a lot. Did you like it?
Yeah, he's having a great time, man.
He's having fun.
That is the haircut he had in 3 Inches. Knuckle up. That's that he did. If that's they made him wear that, so he just kept the wig and was like, I'm gonna wear it here. But man, he's having a great time, and I love when someone has a great time. You know what I'm saying? Like it just adds to the show, you know?
Yeah, you can feel that he's having a good time, and because you can tell he's having a good time, it makes you enjoy it more. Absolutely. And likewise, you can tell when someone is not having a good time on a show. You know, it shows, and so it goes both ways. So we're gonna get into our main event. This is for the WCW World Title. Hulk Hogan, a champion, he comes out with the NWO. And then while they're out there, for Michael Buffer to start giving this introduction, they play Randy Savage's music. And they realized they played it way too early, so they cut it off. And then Michael Buffer does this very long-winded Hulk Hogan intro. And then comes Savage. And Savage comes out, and then he goes to the side, and he calls out the monster truck. Remember that Slim Jim monster truck that somebody won? It comes out, it's a big monster truck in the red and yellow kind of colors. It's got this Macho Man cowboy hat on top of the truck.
I loved it.
I thought he was gonna call out backup. I thought he was gonna get backup. He called out this truck instead. Don't get me wrong, it's a cool looking truck. I thought it was one of the coolest looking trucks ever. That person who won it is very lucky. But it just was funny how there's NWO, they're ready to kick his ass, and he's by himself, and he calls out this monster truck. Visually, very funny. So when this match starts happening, and feel free to cut in whenever you want, Ray. Hulk Hogan is delaying for a while. He doesn't want to like wrestle Randy Savage. He's doing the whole heel thing. He's just like he doesn't want to fight, and he starts the match with his fucking sunglasses on, which is really cool. I like that. And then it's very slow, and he starts beating up on Randy Savage. But Randy Savage fights back. and then he knocks Hogan down. He knocks Hogan's sunglasses off, and Randy Savage picks him up, puts them on, and he goes, "I'm gonna go beat up Hulk Hogan some more." Hulk Hogan reaches out his hand. He goes, "Please, let's call a truce. I don't want to get my ass kicked anymore." And Randy just beats on Hulk Hogan some more, and then he rips Hulk Hogan's wig off, and then he wears it himself. The crowd is going bananas. It's such a funny spot. I love that Hulk Hogan is like, "I'm the bad guy, so let's make me look ridiculous here." Um,
So let
and
me
he's
let me
making, hold on, and he's making goofy heel faces. Like Hulk Hogan's like, like he looks like a coward. I love it. Go ahead. What do you want to say?
So number one, like this match is very Memphis. This match feels very like old school territory style, especially with the Hogan keep delaying the match starting and stuff and
Yeah.
prancing.
Yeah.
But Hogan, his commitment to being a heel and getting the fans to boo him is very admirable. This match blows away Cena Cody from a few weeks ago, and like so Seth Rollins, turned heel, got what's his tits to join with him. Braun Breaker gets Paul Heyman. He comes out still with goofy outfits, singing, and it's like, bro, no, you got to make a change, man. And Hogan, like, this is how you beat a heel. This is how you get people not to like you. And he's doing such a great job. And again, is this the most technical masterpiece? No, but it's fucking getting the job done. And Hogan is such a good heel, man. He really is just like he's embracing it. And when you embrace it and you have fun, everyone else has fun.
Cena should have worn a wig.
What?
Cena shouldn't have worn a wig. He should have worn a wig and have it get ripped off like Hogan. It's a great spot, dude. It's a great spot.
There's a lot of things he should have done that he's not doing. Son of a bitch.
Yeah. So Hogan and Savage, they start fighting in the aisle, and then Randy Savage, he has the wig still, and he shoves it in Hulk Hogan's mouth, and he hits him with a chair. But Hulk fights back, and he uses the chair on Randy Savage. He crotches Savage on the rail, and then he gives him a kiss. Liz comes out and distracts Hulk Hogan for Randy Savage to moon Hulk Hogan not once but twice in the ring, pulling down the tights, showing his bare ass. The crowd loves this. This is, oh man. I know Hulk Hogan's a fucking dickhead. Mm-hmm. But man, this guy knows wrestling. He's not only the world's greatest good guy, but he's also the world's greatest bad guy. Like he knows how to make himself look stupid,
There was nobody better when he was hitting it. There was nobody better.
Yeah, when he's hitting, there's nobody better, you're right. And Hogan, because he's a cowardly heel, he uses Liz as a shield to stop getting his ass kicked, and this allows him to regain control and start the beatdown process. He starts beating up on Randy Savage. Liz gets in the ring, and she tries to shield Randy Savage, and Hogan puts her in the corner, and he goes, "You're gonna stand here and you're gonna watch what happens. You watch what happens to Randy." And then he goes for his leg drop, but he misses the leg drop. And Hogan tries to get a weapon, but Liz keeps Hogan from using the weapon. And then there's a ref bump. And Savage hits his top rope elbow drop. And then Nick Patrick comes in as a second referee because there's a ref bump. And he goes to make the 3 count. But on the third one, his neck, remember, he's wearing a neck brace. His neck bothers him and he can't make the 3 count.
The crowd pops for that. They're like, this motherfucker.
Yeah, this motherfucker. Yeah, because they're invested in this match. The crowd is they're fully invested in this match. And when this guy fucking pulls the 1, 2, oh my neck, everyone's like, you fucking sack of shit. Savage is mad. He shoves Nick Patrick, and then he picks up the weapon and he hits Hulk Hogan with the weapon. Then he gets DiBiase. He beats on DiBiase a little bit, but then the Giant comes in. And the Giant choke slams Randy Savage on the floor, and then he throws him back in the ring, and then he puts Hulk Hogan on top of Randy Savage for Nick Patrick to make the 3 count. This is a before I started getting to let's just stop it here for a moment.
Yeah, before we get to
this is a fantastic match. I gave this a B+. What a, you know what? maybe Hulk Hogan and Randy Savage were old in 1996. Maybe. Who knows? Yeah, maybe they're old. But man, do they both still got it. October 1996, these two guys still have it. I would say there's nobody better than these two right now, even at this point. They had the
Yeah,
audience in the palm of their hands, but basically doing nothing.
yeah, yeah. No, they are the best. And this whole show, this whole main event, Vince should have realized he fucked up getting rid of these guys too soon. Um, these guys were fantastic, and they're continuing the NWO storyline. They're the crowd is the palm of their hands. People have been waiting for these two on pay-per-view for years now, and they ate it up. And if anything, this Hogan run with Savage and now with Piper proved that people were not ready to move on from Hulkamania, but they wanted it different. And here, you have Hogan, Macho, but now Macho Man's the good guy. And now you're going to
Mm-hmm.
get Hogan Piper, and Piper's the good guy. And Starrcade '96 did massive business for WCW. It was probably the biggest Starrcade they had since the territory days, probably even bigger than that because now they're nationwide. And it's because people weren't ready to move on from Piper, Hogan, Savage. They just wanted a remix on it. And that's what this was. And I
Yeah,
had a
that's a good way to say it. A remix on this. Yes, that's a great way to describe it. It's a remix. You're right. You're flipping it.
mm-hmm.
Unfortunately, this pay per view up to this point, I'm like, wow, this was a great pay per view. This was fantastic. Unfortunately, the pay per view is not over.
It's never
So
over.
after Randy Savage loses, the Giant comes out with a big bowl of ice water, and he pours it on Hulk Hogan to wake
Pretty
him up.
funny. Which
Yeah,
is
very
pretty
fun.
the way TDBS goes, oh, we gotta wake him up. And they
Yeah.
just put water on his head. It's really
See,
funny.
Hulk Hogan still playing the heel, right? Like, oh, what? Like, what? And he cuts a promo. He starts cutting a promo about the NWO and everything, and all of a sudden you hear bagpipe music as Roddy Piper comes out to the ring. And Hulk Hogan and Roddy Piper, they face off at each other. So far, so good, right? And
Mm-hmm.
then Roddy Piper tells Hulk Hogan, "You shut up. I'm an independent contractor. I'm not for WCW or NWO." And he goes, "Hogan, you made wrestling? You're an icon? No, I made wrestling. I'm the bigger icon." Etc., etc., etc. Hogan tries to cut Piper off because he's rambling because the clock is ticking and Hogan's
Yeah.
trying to get him on track, but Piper has to keep rambling about himself. And Piper just keeps going on. Finally, Hulk Hogan tries to get Piper to the point, and Piper fucking interrupts. Like, he's trying to get him to the point about them having a match to set up for the next pay per view. Hogan's trying to be professional here, and this dumb motherfucker, Roddy Piper,
He's not dumb. He
interrupts.
knows. He's not dumb. He's like
Interrupts.
a cat who blows the light. He knows. He's not
Yeah,
dumb.
he interrupts, and he brings up WrestleMania. I'm like, you can you imagine? That's like a comic blowing the light at New York Comedy Club and then bringing up the stand. If you
But
want to see,
when
that's basically what it's
WrestleMania, when
like.
WrestleMania got the pop, that the pop, I was when it got the pop that it did, for me, if I'm Bischoff or Kevin Sullivan, whoever the fuck else is back there, I'm fucking worried because it's like, no, people want Vince, they want WWF, they don't want us. You know what I mean? Like we're giving them Vince's guys in a remix, but like they really want Vince to come back. Like I don't know how you like that pop was like, oh, that's what they really care about.
By the way, when he mentioned WrestleMania, Hogan looks so fucking annoyed.
Yeah,
Like he looks annoyed. His face looks like he like the look on his face is like, this is why I hate doing business with this fucking guy. This is why.
because Hogan's whole trick he's been doing for the last 2 years is I'm going to casually mention WWF, and I'm not just going to say like we're ripping off
Subtly,
WWF.
very subtly,
Yeah,
wink, wink, nudge, nudge. This guy's like WrestleMania. It's like, all right, you motherfucker. It's like, um, Piper goes, Hogan, you never beat me, and I want you to admit to the fans, and I want you to admit that the fans made you. You didn't make the fans. And
It's the
Hogan
whole
goes, I'm sorry,
That's
what did
supposed to be the whole point of this back and forth. That like Hogan goes like, I made this business, and Piper's back to be like, no, 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 the business made you, and that's the whole point. And Piper just takes forever to get to it. Just takes
Yeah,
forever.
takes
But
forever to
that's
get
the
there.
point, you
Yeah.
know.
Hogan admits, he goes, fine, Piper, I admit you're an icon. Let's shake hands. They shake hands. And then as Piper's leaving, Hogan takes one last dig at Piper, which gets Piper to come back into the ring, which I hated. I was like, oh. And then Hogan says, maybe we need a war to settle the score. And he tries to leave, but Piper goes, oh, yeah? But you forgot one thing. And he has the WCW world title, and they're trying to do this pull apart, whatever, and then time runs out, and then whatever they're saying gets cut. This was a terrible segment. It's terrible. It is like,
I agree, but
yeah,
when it happened, the ratings go through the roof because Piper Hogan. Like it's just that's just I agree in hindsight, but it worked. It worked for 2 months because the ratings went through the roof, and Starrcade '96 has a monster buy rate, and they sell a ton of tickets. So
I guess that's good, but man, this segment sucked balls. It's awful. I cannot stand Roddy Piper. I think he's one of the worst things I've seen. It. I don't know how. Like, I don't think I've ever seen a wrestler fall so quickly. In like quality than
but
Roddy.
the thing about his work in the '80s was so good, it almost like it bought him 20 or 30 years of grace because people were excited for this. They're like, I want Hogan and Piper again. It just captured everyone's imagination at the time. Like people were foaming at the mouth for this match again. So like I agree. Like watching this, you can see Hogan's like annoyed. You can see like, dude, I brought you in. Like we're supposed to like do it now. You're supposed to be the cavalry, and instead you're just babbling. Like you're not, And plus, we gotta like, we have, this pay per view. I think they're allowed like 2 hours and 54 minutes back then, right? This
Mm-hmm.
pay per view goes 2 hours 58 minutes. They're not supposed to go to 3 hours. And Shivani is trying to get a word in to be like, we have to cut the signal. We have to cut the signal, like so people know, like we're not just gonna, oh shit, it got cut off. And Piper's like, you're not doing any, like, dude, this has been a great show, and you're a great surprise, and this is gonna have everyone talking, but you're so fucking selfish. You're such a fucking selfish old piece of shit, Just get to the point, and it's money. It's money for all of us, dude. Like, it's money for all of us, man.
Yeah. Oh man. So great pay per view, but typical WCW fashion. It's not perfect. I
Still
would
better than
recommend people watch this. 100%.
Still better than Buried Alive. So
Oh
WCW's
my god. So what is the 1996? What is the score so far?
5-1. WCW is beating WWF.
5-1. Holy
But
crap!
remember, we're going to do the final tally after March of 2001 to see who's the greatest company, who really won the war. Right now,
Oh well,
WCW.
we know who won the war at the end,
No,
but
but objectively, who was the better company? Like, what I'm saying? Like, if like WCW has like better pay-per-views overall than WWF. Objectively, WCW was, this is like the true test. Who had the better show every month?
okay.
That's
Well,
really
WWE's got a lot of climbing to do. They're 5-1. Oh man, it's just like
yeah, 5-1. But man, I have to admit, I was thinking to myself, I loved the journey we're going on with WCW from Starrcade '83 to here. It's such an interesting journey. Um, the one thing I'll say, and I realized it today thinking this company, and it started with the Crockett's and it comes here with Bischoff, they constantly ignored the future. They constantly, 91, we see Luger Sting versus the Steiners. That's the future. They blow it off. They let Bill Watts fires the fucking Steiners because he doesn't like Scott Steiner. One of the dumbest fucking things I've ever heard. Then we get to 93, Steve Austin, Gold Dust of the future. They job out Austin to Hacksaw Jim Duggan and let him go. And now here we see it again, where Rey Mysterio and Dean Malenko and Chris Benoit and Mongo and DDP and Eddie Guerrero are stealing the show, and it's going to be all for nothing. But man, is it fun to watch.
You know, the thing with wrestling companies though is this problem where you're kind of forgetting the up and coming guys, young guys, and you're using them as an expense to put over aged talent is something that does happen in a lot of wrestling promotions even to this day. We're talking about it happens in Mexico, it happens in Japan, still happens here in WWE right now where they're not moving forward. They put over old talent over the young guys, and they're just like, it's an issue that happens everywhere. So
yeah,
that's
no, I
one
know.
thing that happens, but it's really interesting too. You mentioned this. It took them over 10 years for them to start getting good. That's how
Yeah,
long it takes for a company to get good, So there's that with that, you know what that means? There's still hope for AEW because that means AEW could get really hot in like 10 years.
As long as Tony Khan's alive, AEW has 90 years. So
Yeah, exactly. They could get hot one day.
um, let's review what we got the next 4 weeks, because while it's getting hotter here in the United States as we enter the summer, it's getting colder in 1996 as we're entering the winter. Next week we got Survivor Series 96, and that is at Madison Square Garden, and that is the debut of The Rock, and that is the return of Bret Hart as he takes on Stone Cold Steve Austin. And then we also have the main event, Sid versus Shawn Michaels. Probably the second most important Survivor Series of all time. First being the year 97, but a fantastic show. I'm excited for you to see it. Have you ever seen this one?
No.
You're gonna have a good time. Then in 2 weeks is World War III 96, featuring the World War III Battle Royal. Then in 3 weeks, it's In Your House, It's Time, featuring Sid versus Bret Hart. And then in 4 weeks, it's Starcade 96, Daddy, the granddaddy of them all, returns with Roddy Piper versus Hogan. What are you looking forward to?
I guess not World War III. I just hate that concept. That's stupid. But dude, I didn't watch any of these, so all of these are new to me personally. But did you watch any of these yourself?
Survivor Series is one of the first shows I rented when I got back into wrestling in '98, and I've seen it a few times. You saw the Steve Austin Bret Hart match. They did it. They remember they were doing like a 205 live. They were like, "What's your favorite match?" And I think like the Punjabi brothers, what the fuck their name was, said it was Austin versus Bret Hart at Survivor Series '96.
Yeah, but what I'm saying is I never seen the entire pay-per-view.
Oh yeah, I've seen. This is a really good show. '96. It's probably WWF's best show of 1996.
Okay, I'm looking forward to that. Yeah, then I'm gonna be looking forward to that. Absolutely.
All right, so guys, that's the show. If you enjoy the show, please subscribe, leave us comments, and tell your friends. And you know what? And if you get fired by WWE, it's your own fault, and you're never going to be over. So that's our show, and we'll see you next week for the. Listen, it's the debut of the final boss,
Oh my God,
Dwayne Johnson. We'll see you then.